Hi guys, so I'm going to talk about Utah House Bill 244, Misdemeanor Sentencing Timeline Clarifications. And this bill was part of the 2019 legislative session and kind of deals with misdemeanor sentences and how they relate to immigration. So the problem that this bill hopes to address is the interaction between the state's maximum misdemeanor sentence and federal immigration guidelines. So currently the federal government has a guideline that a sentence for a crime of 365 or more days could potentially trigger deportation processes for legal immigrants. And this kind of conflicts with the Utah State Class A misdemeanor maximum sentence, which is up to 365 days. So that 1 day of overlap could affect a legal immigrant, and it may make them face deportation for a lesser crime. So, a lesser crime, a misdemeanor, can be several things, one of which is graffiti, which I think most people would agree should not be the grounds for deportation. And this bill hopes to solve that issue by changing the maximum sentence for a misdemeanor from 365 days to 364 days, which would stop that trigger and clear up a lot of ambiguity in terms of the legal system. So how this interplays with race and ethnicity is really important because Latin American immigrants make up the majority of immigrants who come to Utah and the U.S. This is a bit of a dated graph, but the projections have shown that this has only grown and that Latin American immigrants are soon going to make up a large portion of the general population as well. So before this bill, it disproportionately affected Latin American immigrants, and it further caused socioeconomic divides, familial separation, which resulted in psychological consequences, and on a technical note, lack of legal clarity. So effects of deportation on a family are important to look at. So first of all, that's supposed to be loss. I'm sorry. So they can face a loss of income, especially if a breadwinner is deported. This affects their housing opportunities, their education, how involved children are in financial responsibility, whether they take up a job while going to school. It also causes a loss of familismo, which is a reduction of familial cohesion, reduction of traditional values, and loss of parental respect, which can lead into large psychological issues. And then, on a related note, health risks also are contributed from deportation. So, substance abuse, mood disorders, nutrition, infant mortality are all health risks that come with the deportation and familial separation. I just want to make a quick clarification because I think that a lot of the politics right now have maybe caused people to think that potentially immigrants commit crimes at higher rates than natural-born citizens, but that's a misconception. Studies have actually shown that immigrants are convicted of crimes and sentenced to prison at lower rates than natural-born citizens, and causes of crime by immigrants are causes for everybody. Poor neighborhoods, low economic standing, lack of education, those are all greater influences on criminal behavior. So the effect on the judiciary is also important. Before the bill, deportation decisions were placed into the hands of the judge. This would provide clarity. The bill would provide clarity. Deportation for criminals would be set as a default, and it has less ambiguity for the judicial system. And then it kind of marks that border between the judiciary and the executive branch, so nobody crosses any boundaries there. So, lastly, and really quick, there are a few other possible solutions. I think they mainly have to do with preventing immigrants from committing crimes in the first place. I think the bill does a good job of doing the very technical solution. So I think one solution would be to provide immigrants with the opportunities and support to succeed in a new country. And then on the flip side, you could also propose stricter immigration law and prevent more immigrants from entering the country. I personally probably stand more towards the first one, but yeah. So I think